Ever feel dazed and confused by seemingly endless gear choices? Confused about how to orient your mix position in your room? Still not clear on what a wad is? Or wait, is that a DAW? In this video, we're going to find out just what it takes to keep you from losing your mind while creating a basic home studio setup. By the end of this video, you're going to have the knowledge and the power to easily set up the home recording studio that's perfect for you. Ready to get started? Someone hit record. Hi kids, my name is Merlin, and I'd like to welcome you to Better Home Recordings. On this channel, I'll help you find your way through the maze of technology and techniques that can sometimes be a bit overwhelming as you learn to make better recordings at home. I'm also going to share a Better Home Recording super tip for you, so be sure to stick around for that. So, what kind of equipment do you need to get started making magic at home? Let's take a look. Number 1, a computer. Okay, that's probably stating the obvious. Generally speaking though, relatively little power is needed, at least initially, for your audio computer. As you start to grow and add more things like aftermarket plugins and software instruments, you may find that they tax your system to the point where things just aren't quite as smooth as they used to be. It also doesn't matter if you choose the Mac or Windows platforms, both are perfectly suited to audio production and there are tons of software choices for both platforms. So I suggest going with whichever platform and computer you prefer, or start with the one you already own. It probably has plenty of power for audio work, and you'll save a ton of money by not starting from scratch. Look at me. I'm running an 8-year-old iMac and have rarely had any issues with not having enough computing power. Number 2, you're going to need a digital audio workstation, also known as a DAW. A DAW allows you to record different audio tracks and software instruments, and then to arrange and mix your song into the final product. It's the hub of your home studio, and it will be the piece of gear that you use the most. There are many choices for DAWs on the market. I use Logic Pro. Some are even available for free or are included with audio interfaces. Some DAWs are platform specific, like Logic Pro and GarageBand on the Mac. But most popular DAWs like Pro Tools, Ableton Live, Digital Performer, Studio One, including many others, are available for both Mac and Windows platforms. Most DAWs come with a standard set of plugins such as EQ, compression, delays, and reverbs built in, along with hundreds, if not thousands, of sounds and virtual instruments that will allow you to get started making music quickly and easily. Number 3, headphones. Now you might be tempted to think that a good set of studio speakers might be the next choice in line, but in reality, you really don't need those, especially at first and particularly if you're on a budget. As it turns out, a nice set of headphones will actually serve you quite well. Many people have had great success making music with just headphones. You can spend a lot of money on a set of headphones, or not. The important thing to remember when looking to purchase headphones is that we're talking about over-the-ear headphones and not things like earbuds or AirPods. While those may be great things to check your mixes on as you get close to finalizing a mix, they won't be accurate enough for you to make the critical mix decisions you're going to have to make during the recording process. A side note, make sure that whatever headphones you choose, your computer, audio interface, or headphone amplifier is able to power the headphones. Some headphone interfaces won't drive a set of 800 ohm headphones, for example. Number 4, a MIDI keyboard controller. In my opinion, a MIDI keyboard controller is almost indispensable when it comes to your recording setup. While it's true that you can pretty much recreate everything you can do on a MIDI keyboard controller directly on your computer keyboard and in your DAW, it is an infinitely slower and hugely more frustrating way to do things. With a MIDI keyboard controller, not only can you control things like note velocity and sustain, you can also control functions like expression and volume directly from the controller's sliders and knobs. Most MIDI keyboard controllers do not contain sounds directly on board the device. Rather, they are plugged into your computer via a USB or MIDI cable, and they send signals to your DAW's onboard software synthesizer, drum program, or other MIDI-controlled sampler. You can spend a little or a lot on a MIDI controller, depending upon your needs. If you're programming simple parts, a small controller such as the M-Audio KeyStation Mini 32 key can have all the functionality you're looking for. If you're a keyboardist that's looking to record full performances or simply needs the feel of a real piano, something like the Native Instruments Complete Control S88 will do you justice. It is a full-sized 88 key-weighted keyboard and comes complete with sampling software and plugins. Okay. Everything we've covered up to this point is all you'll need to get your basic home studio up and running. It will allow you to make beats, record your songs, and mix your masterpiece. But there's a lot more you can add to your studio to make it even better, depending upon your needs. So, question for you. How do you plan to use your home studio? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear what you're up to. Number 5. Did we do number 4? Number 5. An audio interface. If you're a guitarist, a vocalist, or perhaps have an analog synthesizer that you'd like to record, you're going to need an audio interface to get those things recorded into your DAW. An audio interface is an external device that connects to your computer via a USB cable or sometimes via a Thunderbolt or Firewire cable. They can contain anywhere from 1 to 24 inputs that will allow you to plug in a variety of different microphones and/or instruments for recording. Many also include phantom power for powering condenser microphones, and some can record at sample rates as high as 192 kHz or above. Most all have a master volume control, which is super handy for controlling monitor, speaker, and headphone volumes. Before deciding on which interface to purchase, you need to carefully consider the intended initial and future uses of your home studio. If you're a singer-songwriter, for example, you might be able to get by with just a small 2-channel audio interface for recording guitar and vocal. However, if you're in a band and have designs on recording your entire band all at once, you're going to need an interface with upwards of 24 inputs in order to handle the number of mics needed for the drums, bass, guitar, keyboards, vocals, etc. If you're budget-minded, a great place to start is the Focusrite 2i2 2-channel interface. Focusrite interfaces include really nice sounding preamplifiers for the money and are super easy to use. They also come bundled with DAW software such as Ableton Lite and Pro Tools First. Another great choice that is slightly less expensive than the 2i2 is the PreSonus Audio Box USB, which is also good sounding and includes a free copy of PreSonus' Studio One DAW. The Focusrite Solo is also very popular for around $100. Unfortunately, I usually don't recommend it because although it's a nice sounding interface, it only includes a single mic preamp and a single instrument input, which limits your recording options should you have something like a stereo synthesizer or want to record an acoustic guitar with 2 microphones. So, unless you're recording just a vocal and an acoustic guitar, say, plugged directly into your interface, the Focusrite Solo is probably not enough for most small studios' needs. I would suggest something a little bit larger and a little bit more flexible when it comes to your own studio needs. If you find yourself in the position of needing enough inputs to handle a complete band, I highly recommend the multi-channel offerings from Motu. Focusrite also has some sweet sounding multi-channel units that work great. Also, be sure to check with your retailer, I'm a big Sweetwater fan, to see if any bundle packages are available with your chosen interface. Bundles can include things such as the audio interface itself along with a microphone and a cable, or even the audio interface bundled with a really nice pair of monitor speakers. You can definitely save quite a bit of money by checking to see if there's a bundle package that might fit your needs. I currently use a Universal Audio Apollo Twin as my audio interface. While it is a bit more expensive than the entry-level models, the preamps are really nice and the included software plugins that run on the UAD platform are really sweet sounding and are arguably amongst the current industry standards. Number 6. You're going to need a microphone. A microphone. If you're going to be recording vocals or an acoustic instrument of some sort, then you're going to need a microphone. If you're on a budget or can only afford one microphone initially, then my suggestion is to look at getting a large diaphragm condenser microphone. A condenser microphone will generally give you a nicely balanced sound along with the air that we usually find pleasing to the ears, and they're also quite flexible when it comes to recording vocals, acoustic guitars, drums, or even guitar amps. You can generally get into a large diaphragm condenser microphone for under $100 with something like the Samson C01 or the Audio-Technica AT2020. Moving into the mid-price range is the ever-popular Rode NT1, and at the higher end of the mid-price range is the Neumann TL102, which is a fabulous, sweet-sounding microphone. However, just to prove that not everything involving a recording studio needs to cost more than your house, Right now, I'm using a newer NW800 condenser microphone that I bought brand new for $28, including the desk-mounted boom stand. Yep, that's right, 28 bucks. Surprisingly, it actually sounds quite nice for voiceover work and other tasks normally assigned to a large diaphragm condenser microphone. If you have the budget, then I would suggest adding a nice dynamic microphone or two to your arsenal. The go-to dynamic mics at the top of most engineers' lists, and they've been there for many, many years, are the Shure SM57 and the SM58. Both can be used for recording vocals, instruments, guitar amplifiers, and drums. Another great choice for recording guitar amplifiers, but also works great for vocals, is the Sennheiser E609. It's a very ballsy sounding microphone and it's quite versatile. For recording vocals or doing voiceover work, it's also really hard to beat the industry standard Shure SM7B. This mic is very popular with YouTubers and has been used in voice applications all over the world. I also wanted to quickly mention USB microphones. While the convenience they offer is great because they plug straight into your computer and don't require an external audio interface, they can be a bit limiting. In my experience, the built-in preamps and analog to digital converters are generally not up to the quality of those in external audio interfaces. But that being said, if you're looking to record vocals for something like a blog or a podcast, a USB microphone can save you some money initially, and it's a great way to get up and recording quickly. To go along with your microphone, you're going to need a couple of accessories. First is a mic cable for each microphone that you have, plus a spare or two. You'll want to make sure that you get them in varying lengths. Usually 10 to 25 feet is good, and you can hook them up together for longer cable runs. Next is a microphone stand. These come in a few different varieties and are generally found with either a tripod base, which features 3 legs, or a heavy round metal base. Generally, I prefer the tripod stands as they tend to be a little more versatile and perhaps even provide a bit more stability. Although, when trying to mic up a drum set, you'll find that the tripod stands can be a bit cumbersome as they get tangled up with the legs of the drum stands, etc. In this situation, I find the round base stands work better. Overall though, either choice will be fine for most applications. You'll also need a boom attachment. This will allow you a great deal of freedom when placing the stand and the mic, particularly in miking situations like a vocalist who plays the guitar. One absolute necessity when recording vocals with a large diaphragm condenser mic is a pop filter such as this one. A pop filter is generally a small, round screen device that helps control the plosives that can happen when saying or singing words with P's or B's in them. They're available from companies like Gator or Onstage Stands for under $20. Number 7. Okay, the big one. The one everyone gets excited about. Monitor speakers. Choosing a pair of monitor speakers generally comes down to 2 things. What's your budget? And do the speakers fit your room? Budget is a fairly obvious consideration. There are actually some really nice speakers available for under $300 a pair. But you can also easily spend $3,000 a pair. But also know that spending $3,000 doesn't mean your mixes are necessarily going to sound $2,700 than the $300 monitors. See the math I did there? Speakers fitting your room size is a bit more complicated. If your room is an 8x8 spare bedroom, then buying a huge pair of speakers with double 12-inch woofers and 2-inch horns with high-frequency lenses is definitely going to be overkill. In that size room, you might find that a small pair of near-field monitors with 3.5 to 4-inch woofers are perfectly fine. For the size of the room. These days, there aren't really any bad speakers. Studio monitors, though, are designed to have a flat frequency response and are not hyped the way some home stereo speakers can be, so you should make sure to get monitors that are designed for critical listening and steer clear of the Walmart specials. As with headphones, translation is the key when it comes to monitor speakers. Learning how mixes done on your studio monitors translate to other playback systems such as your home stereo, your car stereo, and your earbuds is super important. Once you get a handle on that, and believe me, it takes lots of practice, you'll be in good shape. I would also suggest investing in something like the Auralex Mopads to place your speakers on. Not only do they help isolate speaker vibrations from your desktop and from the floor, they also come with additional wedges to help you angle the speakers properly so that the high frequency drivers are pointing at your ears and not over or under your head. 2 quick words about adding a subwoofer to your system. Be careful. If your room is not treated properly, and we're going to cover that topic in an upcoming video, then adding significant amounts of low end to your monitoring system might make your situation worse. Concentrate first on getting good mixes just from your main speakers or your headphones. Later on, once you're comfortable with how your speakers sound and how your mixes translate, you can take a second look at whether or not a subwoofer might help you make better home recordings. Thanks for sticking with me through this whole video. I really appreciate you being here. That brings us to our Better Home Recording Super Tip of the day. Today's Better Home Recording Super Tip is, when it comes to putting your home studio together, utilize what you already have. Don't give in to gear acquisition syndrome. While it's important to have relatively decent gear in good working order, in all my years I've never heard anyone say, "Wow, I really love the sound of that preamp you used on the vocals." People just don't listen to music like that. Well, with the possible exception of another audio engineer. People listen to music as a whole and are drawn more to a great performance than they are by the sound of a vocal recorded with a $3,500 preamp. Utilize what you already have. I am so glad you stopped by today. If you have any questions on anything discussed in this video or would like to suggest a subject for a future video, please leave a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. That's it for now, kids. Hope to see you again soon. And remember, the first rule of Better Home Recordings is there are no rules. Be sure to check out my video on some additional items you might find useful for your home studio here. And please remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more fun and information. See you soon.